Good morning, everyone. It's 9:14 here in California. I don't know what time it is. Let me try to get that. Let me fix that light back there because it's too bright. Might be the outside. Pretty sunny out there. Well, it's even darker, huh? My God. Let's try to take this outside. Maybe this will be better. So, how is everyone today? I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day. I don't think of Valentine's Day. I can see you out here on this screen. I gotta find me a good spot. So it's about 65 degrees out here. So it's kind of, sun's out bright. I don't know how this is gonna work. I can't really see the screen. All right. But yeah, I'm just hanging out here. I want to wish all the mothers and happy Mother's Day. Of course, this year my birthday fell on Mother's Day, so that was nice. So I guess everybody's voting in the Philippines right now. So good luck on that. So yeah, we're just hanging out here, just checking around how everything's going. Leave comments if you like. I know it's kind of late there. I think it's 9 here, so it's like 12 p.m. nighttime there, something like that. But yeah, so yeah, the weather's beautiful here. About 65, I guess it's like 65, 67 degrees, California. So, if anybody has any comments or anything later on, uh, I'm telling you a good time to do. Well, this is the U.S., so I guess I get to. So, if anybody's looking to build or do anything in the Philippines, just let's make a chat start on it. Uh, a lot of you guys are not builders, I guess, when it comes to going to the Philippines and building, then you got to understand the techniques. Or do you? I mean, that's one thing. Uh, a lot of people fall into the trap of just letting them handling everything. So, and a lot of them let the families members get involved, and uh, it can be if you get the right people, it works out. But uh, I've seen a lot of videos, so I've been watching. I've been around a lot of construction. Uh, I don't know if a lot of you probably wouldn't know that when Armstrong was building, I used to go down to Vegan, check the houses out he was building and stuff, and the houses turned out nice. I mean, I thought they did. Uh, I learned a little bit just watching him and some other people uh, on their builds, but you know, you just got to find what you want. I guess that's how it is because everybody's different. There's a lot of foreigners that got plenty of money and they just let those guys do it and do it the way they want to do it. But I'm a little, I mean, I guess because I've been in the construction field most of my life. I owned a plumbing and heat and air company for 30 some years, and then I did house flips. I used to buy houses, flip them, all that stuff. So I have a background in construction. So I guess that makes it a little bit different. But uh, yeah, you just gotta, I always say you just gotta find your niche on it because it just has to be a certain way. Uh, I think I brought this up last time that I didn't like I'm not a big hollow block fan. I can understand, you know, they they step over. The old saying when we were kids, your parents would say you step over a dollar to pick up a dime. That's basically what's happening. Uh, yeah, they look at the hollow block as being so much cheaper, but then they don't look at the cost of the rendering and all the other stuff and the time it's wasted and how many more people you got to have. So you have to look at different technique. Yeah, the material could be cheaper, but the labor could be higher. I used to run into that a lot in the plumbing field because I'd see other plumbing contractors and they're like, "Oh, are you using this material? That's more expensive," but it would cut down on my labor costs. Like I used to do gas piping because I'm certified plumbing, heating, air, and gas. And on the gas, we used to run all hard pipe. So I mean, you could do a house in a day and a half, average. on a gas pipe. There's like 3 or 4 fixtures in a house, and it takes time to sit there with a threading machine and thread it all and pipe it together. And when they started coming out with the Ward Flex and the other products, it made it easier. And also, I used to do 2 pound, which was copper, so you could run like a half-inch line or 3/8 line outside, and then mana block it, and then do like a high to a low pressure system. And yeah, the copper was a little more expensive, but you could finish a job in 2 hours, 3 hours. You're still getting paid the same amount of money. That's what I used to argue. Like, you're getting paid the same amount of money. So if you're getting $100 to do this is for an instance, you could be doing $100 to do a gas line, and it takes you a day and a half. Or you can pay, and say the materials 10 and labor's 20 or something like that. But you could turn around and do I guess that's a bad that's a bad layout. Well, I think as you all know what I'm guessing. You can sit there and have, say, 50% in labor and 50 in profit. All right. So if you're going out there and you're spending, 25 on labor, 25 on material, that part never goes away. You're still at the 50% profit. So, but it takes you a day and a half to do. So if you're taking a system and you're saying, okay, materials, 40% and labor is 10%, and you're only spending 2 hours to do it, and you can do it in 2 hours. Well, how many more jobs can you do that day? So that's how I looked at it, because I was doing production. I did a lot of houses, so I could look and say, okay, yeah, I can do this gas line a day and a half, so I get five gas lines done a week, or I could get 20 gas lines done a week, and doing the 20 gas lines, I made more money that week at the same 50-50 ratio than doing it. But the other guys would always say, "Oh, no, you're spending too much material." If you're looking at jobs like that, you're looking over the profits you're going to make. So if you can sit there and make, I can't even remember what we used to charge back then. It's so long ago. But say it's $1,000 per job. So if you do one job, 1.5 jobs, you're only doing two. You're doing 3, maybe 4 jobs a week. So you're making $4,000, and then half of that $4,000 is material. So you're making $2,000 for the week, right? But if you're doing the same, you're doing 10 jobs a week, and that's 10,000, and then you got 5 in labor and material, you're making 5,000. So that's what I'm saying. There's the ratio changes. So, and you're getting more done. So you got to, it's a cost effective efficiency. So uh, that's the same thing I look at when I'm looking at building in the Philippines. I see a lot of things that could be modified more differently and done differently that I think would save money. And I think I said this in the last vlog, that I just think this is my opinion. I'm like, I'm not going to say I'm the expert on everything, but I just feel like when you have 20 guys on the job every day, there's just way. I mean, I run a company, and one thing I hated was waste. It meant just standing around not doing things. And you got to get everybody doing the right job and getting it done in a timely manner. So yeah, I hope I can show that when I get ready to build, and streamline this, and show where the material and labor costs affect this. Uh, and then it changes the quality of the work, because, like I said, a lot of them are just, you're, if you notice constructions in the Philippines, most of it's all piers and beams. So you got your footers tying together, your pier beams going up, your tie beams tying in, and the rest in their mind is filler. You're filling it in, putting your windows in, and stuff like that. Well, and with the way I'm trying to do it is just form it, pour it all one time, be done with it. So it's just finished. I'm not doing so many extra steps, because, like I said, you have to pour all the tie beams and the your posts and stuff, and then come back, fill it in with a hollow block, and then you let that cure a little bit, and then you come back and slap your mud and level that out, and then they're going back and chiseling all the holes out for the electrical and the plumbing, and then they got to patch all that. To me, I see a lot of repetition where you don't need all that stuff. Uh, to me, it's just like you could form it on one side, put all your electrical, your plumbing stuff, put your other form up there, and you can put your windows, case your windows where they're going to be, pour this whole thing, and then come back, pull the forms. You're ready. You don't have to do the tie beams at the top because you're already making. You got the rebar already in there, so it's a solid pour. A lot of them do the hollow block and just throwing mud in the holes. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, you're paid for the hollow block, and then you got to pay the guy to put the hollow block up, then you got to pay another guy to slap the mud up there. And then you got to pay another guy to render it. To me, it's like you pour it, you get the electrical, and then, like I said, when you're doing electrical, you're chiseling all that stuff out. To me, you're weakening it. And they use 4-inch, so I'm probably going to go 6. But if you do 4-inch and you start putting 2-inch pipes in the wall and you're putting electrical boxes, you got the hollow part, but you're beating it out, so you're making a stress point where the back of it can crack and stuff. I just rather have it, And then you're looking at the R factor. Now, I do like what Armstrong did with the ACC block. It was more keeping the place cooler. But my worry, they when they come and do the on the side of the side beams, they drill into it, put an anchor, and then they put on top of the block. I mean, each row of the block, they put a thing. There might be a few rebars coming up, but I just feel that structurally, especially where we're at in typhoons and stuff, I want something solid. I want something that's not going to cause problems down the road. Yes, I like the ACC block, and there's some other ones out there. I've looked into Royal block. The Royal block was basically it's actually a pre-made form. I can't remember the dimensions, but I'd say it's about 12 by 8 or maybe 14 by 8, and then it's got plastic pieces inside, and you set it down, and when you stack it, like I want to say like a Lego system, you stack it and you pour it all with concrete, and you can do the same thing with electrical. But then you're paying extra money for that apparatus to do that, and then you're pouring it. So I mean, I'm just thinking about the alligator board. They can be drill holes every a foot, put a piece of PVC pipe and a piece of not rebar, all thread rod cut to certain lengths, and we bolt it, make a sandwich out of it, and then everything inside. You have the rebar coming up. If you want a tie beam on the top, you can put all the rebar up there and pour that too. Have your stub outs for your rafters. I mean, that to me seems simple. Plus, when you pull them forms up, they're constantly being reused for the next wall, so you can constantly reuse it. So I'm looking at, if you're using the Royal block and stuff like that, you're paying for each one of those on that wall, and then it starts adding. It might be close to what I'm not having done the calculation, but it could be close to the same amount of the first your forms. So the rest, if you're doing the rest of the house, the forms are free in a sense. Compared them, okay, I just paid for all these, and then I got to pay again over here, then here, as it goes. And then when you start cutting them up, you got waste. This way, you got a form that you can constantly reuse in any way if you really think about it. And if you really got to be thinking how you're going to lay it out and form it. I mean, you don't want to go with any odd size. I mean, a 4x8 sheet, okay, there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you want 8-foot ceilings, or 12-foot ceiling, you can go 4 long ways this way, tie them together, going that way. All right, so there's your 4, 8, 12. You make a room 4x8, 4 or 12 feet long. You got it right there. There's your 12-foot. 1 board, 2 board, 3 boards, right? And then maybe you're gonna have to cut some for the top. Maybe you want 10-foot ceiling, so you could cut a couple pieces to match the top. Now, if you got another wall on the other side, and you don't have and you have windows in it, okay, you make your boxes to slide in between the forms on the first sheet, and you screw it to a way that you can take it off. but you level it all up, set it in place, and then put your other sheet on it. And then after you pour it, you can pull that off and pull the other off, and then there's your window opening. So, and if you can design your windows to be pretty close to the same, so that, I mean, that's how we're planning. So I'm going to have two longer wide windows like this in each bedroom beside each bed, and then a big window uh, on the other wall. So they're all going to be the same pattern. So I can flip the one bedroom to go to the other bedroom. The bathrooms will be standard bathrooms, one for our going in my master bedroom, and then one for the hall bath. They'll be the same dimensions, same windows, so that anything I form, it's going to match whatever I'm going to do. All right. But then the forms that we're using there, like when we do the kitchen and stuff, they might change. But if I make the kitchen 12 foot or 15 foot kitchen, whatever it's going to be, I got a 4 foot piece, 4 foot piece, you know, and then the 2 foots that I cut uh, up in different places can be reused and stuff like that. So you're not wasting a lot of material in that sense. So yeah, I'm just looking at what can be more efficient and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But I just kind of want to touch base. But I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody in the Philippines. I hope they're enjoying the weather. I talked to Donna this morning. Well, my morning, her afternoon, but she's saying that they've had rain for a couple of days. So she's like, oh, it's like winter rain. But I hope everything's going all right there. I miss her. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, anybody wants to do a Q&A or something like that later on, we can do that. But let's pick a time and we'll talk about it and see what happens. All right, guys, I'm out. Have a good day.